Directed by Rahul Ravindran, The Girlfriend could be looked at as a typical college love story. Boy sees girl, boy likes girl, girl likes boy, and the girl's dad doesn't approve. Now, the beats of the story, or the arc of Bhooma or Bhooma Devi, played by Rashmika Mandanna, are quite predictable. But The Girlfriend is still refreshing in one particular aspect. That is that I, as a man, was able to deeply empathize with Bhooma. Hi, I'm Kairam Vaashi and this is The Hollywood Reporter India.
As he love you.
Bhooma is a student pursuing MA in English literature. And at one point, her HOD tells her that as an adult, it is she who needs to control her life and not anyone else. That one line sort of sums up her entire struggle. Bhooma, who lost her mother at birth, has lived her whole life under the pressures of social conditioning in many ways. That pressure has slowly shrunk her and drained the life out of her, and she doesn't even realize it. Luckily for her, books have always been her escape, and that's one of the reasons she's pursuing MA literature. The pressure in her life starts right from her name, Bhooma Devi, meaning the all-tolerating, all-bearing Mother Earth. She isn't proud of her name, but she's learned to accept it. Just like she accepts Vikram, played by Dheekshith Shetty, as her boyfriend. She cleans his hostel room, brings food to his table, and even feeds him. And he likes her for that. He wants a girlfriend who can be like his mother. Bhooma tries to speak her mind here and there, but her thoughts, her words, her feelings are often dismissed or overruled. She accepts that as well at first, and that's conditioning, until his arm around her neck begins to feel suffocating. There are two men in her life, and both are patriarchs. One is full of the male savior complex, the other carries a sense of entitlement and a victim card in his pocket. I honestly felt a specific one of the two men could have had a moment of redemption. Not necessarily at the most obvious point, but somewhere along the way. But Rahul denies that character the opportunity, and that's his call. So is the entire film. The reason I say this is because The Girlfriend is a very intentional film. It takes a stance and makes a clear statement about gender dynamics. No wonder there's a reference to a room of one's own. I was more than happy to engage with the perspective the film was presenting, but the storytelling itself never really fully drew me in. For what it wants to tell, the film is fine with taking a familiar path and even making some convenient choices to get there. The gender dynamics is the food here. The story is just the plate that it's served on. But the good part is that this preparation doesn't use a lot of masala. Towards the end, there are a few high-speed, heroic shots and even a punch dialogue. But that's about all the masala you get. More than the drama between the characters, I was actually more engaged with Bhooma herself. All that she and many girls and women like her have gone through and continue to go through. Rohini gets a role which, in the broader context, may feel slightly exaggerated, but it's as shocking as it can get. It immediately made me question myself, and I'm sure many men watching might feel the same. There's a scene between Bhooma and Rohini that uses a photo album and a mirror, and that's the film at its craftiest best. They do take that idea one step further, and while I personally wish they hadn't, I also understand that the intent was to make the subtext very clear to everyone. A dupatta, the walls of a bathroom, the roots of a tree, all of these serve as metaphors. Artistic, yes, but also a little too obvious. The foam block pit in the play zone though, that one I really liked. Even though college and hostel life are things that we have all experienced or seen on screen several times, the film goes through those portions with confidence. Whenever the film remains understated, and it does in so many places, I really liked it. Take that moment when Bhooma peels the skin on her finger and then lets out a sigh of relief. That scene had me on edge. The same tension beautifully echoes towards the end. An additional reason why tension works so well in many places in the film is Prashanth R Vihari's background score. It seamlessly supports the emotion and adds weight at the right moments. Hesham Abdul Wahab's songs too are intentionally not flashy. They blend perfectly into the film instead of standing out. Krishnan Vasant's cinematography too is understated and therefore effective. The visual treatment of this film finds that sweet spot between bland and overdone while still maintaining a sense of aesthetics. Both Rashmika and Dheekshith are obviously older than Bhooma and Vikram, but once the film started, that thought never crossed my mind. Rashmika's costumes and look could be one of the reasons for that. Rashmika has taken on a truly challenging role and she's definitely risen to it. It's lovely to see her maturing into a strong actor, internalizing her roles and growing from strength to strength. Dheekshith too doesn't get an easy role, but it's a confident portrayal. Anu Emmanuel gets a role that's more of a narrative tool used for convenience in writing, but I felt she really did a convincing job. Her character conveniently appears whenever the film requires her. Initially to provoke judgment and later to offer a subtle message. All par for the course in the film's broader commentary. I won't tell you what that subtle message is, but you will get a hint when you notice the point at which the title, The Girlfriend, appears on screen. So, the THR India bottom line is, The Girlfriend is an important film, definitely thought-provoking, even if not entirely emotion-evoking. For more such reviews, subscribe to The Hollywood Reporter India.